Hello, welcome to this part of our tutorial. Today we're going to use GAP to model the entire field for a petroleum system. In an earlier video, I had explained the GAP environment together with its the tools and the options available in it. In this tutorial, I want to go directly into modeling a field that produces oil. So a model will start from the reservoir and end at the separator. I'm sorry, at this tutorial I will not be showing the data like I do in other tutorials. Nonetheless, I am going to do everything from scratch, so if you follow, you can write down the data and then for references or so that you can replicate the model. Okay, so let's move directly into the model. Now the field has two reservoirs, and each reservoir is being drained by a single well. So by extension, we have two reservoirs and two wells, and then they are producing to a common manifold, and then the production is commingled and then goes to the separator. So that's what we're going to do in this model. So first, all you have to do is design your model first. So I'm going to place the wells. So I had told you earlier that this is the icon, the tank icon is used to place wells. So I'm going to call this reservoir reservoir A. That should be okay. Then I'll place another one somewhere, maybe somewhere here, and I'll call it reservoir B. Okay, so I'm done with the tank. The next thing I'll have to do is to place my wells. I'll have to place the wells directly above this. So I'll call that well A, and then I'll also call this well B. Okay, so now the next thing I'll have to do is to define the wellhead. So I'll use the node, the joint icon to define my wellhead. So that'll be I'll call it wellhead. Anything. Let's say wellhead A, but I know it's the wellhead for well A. So I'll also call this one let's say wellhead B, WH underscore B. Okay, so and then this will be commingled together here. I'll call this should be my manifold. Okay, and then the manifold goes to the separator, so I'll call that my separator joint. Just maybe separator, that should be okay. Okay, the next thing I'll have to place is the actual separator, so my separator can be somewhere here, so I'll call that separator. Okay, so that's that. The next thing which I'll have to do is to link this together, so let's do that. So I'll have my reservoir to my well, and then the well to the well head, the well head, the flow line to the manifold, then the manifold pipe to the separator. So, okay, but the same thing with this. So this to the well head to the flow line. That's it. That's good. Now you can adjust these the way you want. What's the tool? You can use this tool to adjust this, maybe to have something. But for me, I think I'm okay. I'm okay with this. Okay. So now, what's the next thing we have to do is to define our reservoir and the wells and the pipes too. You can see we have pipes here. There's a flow line from the well head to the manifold. So we have those lines. So I'll have to supply data for each and every one of them. So there are a couple of ways to do this. Okay, so let's start from our reservoir A. Now if you over, you'll see errors, invalid MVAL tank model. So what you have to do is to generate tank models. So I'll double click on reservoir A. You look at this, you discover the items, you'll see the items that are actually invalid at the moment. Now this one says that the MVAL file is missing. If you have an embed file, all you have to do is just click on the browse and link the file. But since I want to do everything from scratch, I'm gonna generate the I'm gonna model the embed file for reservoir A while I'll link that to reservoir B to save time. So what I'm gonna do is I'll not link any file here. I'll come here and to the run embed button, I'll click there and then I'll run embed. So with that, okay. So now this is the embed screen for those we've seen embed before. So that's embed. What I have to do is just sorry, I'm already there. Just select the tool. I want to use the material balance tool. So the options, it's an oil well, the fluid is oil, tank model is that. Everything here, the default values, they're okay by me. So I'm just gonna go. You can supply these user information, um, but for want of time, I'll skip those ones. Okay, so I'm going done. I go to PVT, the fluid properties. Now for my reservoir A, the GOR is actually 325.028. So that's what I have. The gravity is 35.2. For oil, the gas gravity is 0.8718. The water salinity is 78,000. The mole percentage for hydrogen sulfide, there's hydrogen sulfide, but we have a bit of carbon dioxide and nitrogen, 0.6. Okay, then we also have data to match this model. So what I'll do is I have the data here. I'll just copy and paste. What is in here is actually a tab delimited file and then data. So I'll just copy. That's for the matching. I'll come here, right click, and then paste table. So that should be enough. Okay, so you see everything is okay now. The temperature is at 215. The bubble point pressure is that, and then you have all that. Okay, so with that, okay, I'm gonna go to match, and then I'll calculate. So it's suggesting I should use this correlation. So I'll just go. But I have in a tutorial I have shown how to check the correlations, how to determine the correlations. So you can use the match params. Then you look at this, the parameter 1 and the parameter 2. With those combinations, you can choose the correlations that best suits the what you're trying to calculate. But since I've done that in earlier tutorials, for want of time, I'm gonna skip some of those. Okay, so I'll have these and then I go done. I think yeah, done, and so it's saying use matching. So the matching is successful, and then we can go done. So now that's for the PVT. We can go to input and then enter the tank parameters. We're doing oil model, so just the tank type is for oil. I'm going to supply the temperature. You've already seen the temperature. That's about 215 degrees Fahrenheit. The initial pressure for this reservoir is 5,150 psig. The porosity is about 0.21. The connect water saturation is 0.15. The initial gas establishment gas. The oil in place is 425,000, right? Yeah, 425.704 million, sorry, not thousand, 425 million barrels. And then the start date of production, I'm gonna take the 1st of August, our current year. You can look at the bubble points to confirm, calculate. It gives us the same thing, 1537.85. So good to go. Okay, so that's that. Now the next thing is to supply the water influx model. I'm gonna use Ost van Everdingen modified, and the thickness of my reservoir is about 120 feet. The radius of the reservoir is 4,200 feet. The ratio of the outer to the inner radius is about 5.99984. That's roughly 6. Okay, the encroachment angle is all around 360 degrees. Well, the aquifer permeability is about 9.9359. Okay, so now the rock compressibility has already been calculated for us, so we can continue the compaction. We are using that. So let's go to relative permeability. Okay, I'm going to use the Corey function. So I'm going to supply this data immediately, 0.15 and 0.01. Okay, so we can go to this one. This is 0.6763, yeah, and this is 0.15. Oh, sorry, 0.8. I was beginning to ask myself. Okay, and this is 0.9. So what about the exponent? Exponent, we have one here. For these we have 0.71 and finally 0.527. Okay, so that's that, and we have some data here. So I'll come here and copy. These are the data for the matching. Copy and I'll paste. Okay, so that's that. That's that. With these, we're good to go. Normally I should just save these and then go back, but let's do some history matching since we have history, the data for history matching. So I'll just come here and I'll look at let's just look at run the simulation and see what we get. Okay, so the average oil rates, recovery factor, okay, the saturation, everything looks okay. It's okay. We can access other data. The GOR, solution GOR is okay, so it means the matching is good. Okay, we can even confirm from here. Look at the curves. So if you look at this, the WD function, I think that's a good match there. Okay, that's good. Oh, do you wish to say, what did I do? Cancel this, please. No. Okay, so let's look at the FW matching. So this is a good match, very good. So I'll finish that, and then we can also look at the FG. Okay, this doesn't apply. But okay, so we're done with that. We can also do some predictions. So let's just set that up. Um, let's I'll leave this at automatic now. Let me specify. So I want to have absolute control. But look at this. I'm predicting from production schedule with no wells. I don't want to use wells because I'll design my wells in Prosper and then the surface facility in Gap. You've already seen those. So I want to run these for about what was the last from our history. Our history we have 2025. So I'm gonna use these there. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna use that there to predict. Okay, so the start is automatic from production. That is actually, so the start date will be this the first day, and then the last day should also be the last day. So just that. I'll allow this to be automatic and the other ones to be the way they are. So the production constraint, I have production data that on the 1st of January, right, 2023, we had oil rate of about 4,700. Okay, and then we had oil rate of 6,851. When was that? That was on the 1st of May 2023. Oh God. Finally, on the 1st of August 2023, our production was about 7,871. Okay, so we're done with that. There's something I think I don't know. Let me look at it again. Okay, 1st of January. It's okay. So let's continue with that. So I'm going to look at the reporting schedule. I want this to be automatic. So good to go. Next thing is to run the prediction, and then from there we can view the time result. So you click on calculate. It should, yeah. So we'll look at that. Our liquid rate is still very much okay. Of course, you've seen this is what we add the up to May, and May we add these. Okay, we add these up till August, and then August it changed, and then up to this. So we can also look at other data. Let's look at the GOR. If where are you? Where is the GOR? Okay, solution GOR. It's good. We're having, so that's good. So with these, I am done with the the MBAL model for tank A. So I can just go to cap. Once I click up and save changes to untitled, yes, I can save changes. It should bring up a dialog. I will call these. I think I have a folder on my desktop. I think so. Yeah, and then I called folder gap. So I'll call these reservoir. Let's use these, but I'll change this to reservoir a.mbi. So see. Now, do you wish to continue? You're about to change the MBAL file, so that will automatically import everything. So I just say yes, and then that is what we have. So it's now valid. So with that, we are done with the reservoir A stuff. You look at it, everything is good, everywhere is green. Okay, so if you go down, now the red invalid stuff is gone, right? Now we'll do the same thing. Normally you should do the same thing for this, but for want of time, I won't run the MBAL and all that again. So I'll just import. I have a file there already. So I'll go to desktop, gap, gap. Then I have reservoir B. Okay, so that's that. So it's the same thing. If you look at it, start of production from 1st of January to that, almost the same thing, but the difference is the original oil in place. And some other values, the GOR is different and others, yeah. But the production period is the same. Okay, I can actually open the file so that you see the properties of, yeah, let me open the file. So we'll look at reservoir B briefly before we continue. I just want to show you the properties, what's happening here. We're using the material balance tool. The options, oil, reservoir fluid is oil. You can pause the screen to look at those values. I'm just trying to rush for want of time. Okay, if you look at the fluid properties, we have the GOR is 768 as opposed to 3254 for reservoir A. And the gravity is also different. The water salinity is different. The impurities are different. The matching data, okay, the temperature is the same, but the bubble point pressure is different. Okay, so the data for the matching is different. So that's just that. The input data, you can see the initial pressure is different, the porosity, so all that. And the oil in place too is different. Look at this. The reservoir thickness is different. The radius, everything here is different. So we can look at the relative permeability. Yeah, the endpoints are different. Okay, and then the exponents too. So the history matching. Okay, and so this is the history. So we can go down and we can look at the history matching all. Okay, looks good. Let's look at. I don't. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I like talking about that button. Okay, let's also look at the sensitivity. Okay, don't need to do this. I'll look at the production. I think okay to set up. So same thing. I'll look at the constraints. Yeah, the production history is also different. So we could just look at the tank results. I don't need to run that. So yeah, everything is okay. So look at that. So that's that. The reporting schedule should be automatic too. So that is that. We just want to show you the data for that. Okay, so our reservoirs are now okay. The next thing which we'll have to do is to supply data for our wells. So I'm gonna model well A while I'll just import well B. I have a model for well B already. So just follow the procedure and then you can replicate the model. So I'll click on well A and we're missing the Prosper file and then the IPR, BLP and others are not there. So instead of clicking here to import a model, I'll click on Run Prosper to design the model from scratch. Right. Okay, so I have data for a particular model. I'll just go through that quickly. The default value here that okay by me. You can supply a company information and all that. So I'll go down and we can look at this ones very quickly. Okay, so the solution GOR, it should be the same thing with, of course, uh, our tank information is the same. So we have 35.028. The gravity is the same thing, 35. The gas gravity also 0.8718. So the salinity is the same, we have 78,000. Okay, the impurities also the same. We have 2.17 for CO2 and 0.6 for nitrogen. So we use the same data to match this. So I'll go there and copy the same data again. So this is this. Copy. Let's see this will go for this one. It's not going. No, 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 no. That's bad. Oh God, it's bad. I not now. Okay, so import. Oh God, I can't just paste. Wow. Sitting down to type all those things is actually very difficult stuff for me. Okay. There's no way out. So let me type. I know I have 215 here. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Let me split my screen so it will be easier to type this values. Okay. So I'll go back to that again. Match. I have 215 and then I have what's the power point. The power point. Let's copy that. I think I have. Let me check something. This also open from Xbox. Yes. Let me see. Wow, 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 wow. That's better. That's much better. Okay, so the control V actually worked wonders. So this is better instead of sitting down to type everything. Okay, so I have this the 51 153 51 153 yes and all that 385. So it's okay. It's okay. So thank God I didn't have to sit down to type all those. So now the next thing you have to do is just go down and then you can regress and then match all. So you wait for it to finish. Okay, it's done. And like always, you can look at the parameters to look at which is best. For me, I'll just go with this one, Glasso and PL it all. I didn't look at those parameters, so just leave that for now. So I go done. I have a tutorial where I actually went through how to choose those parameters and all that. So that's why I'm skipping some of those details. Okay, so we go done, and then let's supply the equipment data. So I'll select all and deselect the surface. I'll go edit. Okay, so the deviation, our model is slightly deviated. So just around 3,200 here and 3,200. Then I have 5,800, but here, sorry, not 15,000, 5,800. But here I have 5,700. Yeah? Then I have 7,600. Here I have 7,200. So just so this is 9,200 and 8,100. It's nothing steeper. I have 9,750 and 8,300. So you can plot this to check the geometry. So something like that. Okay, so I'm done with that. The next thing which allows to do is to supply these other ones. So I have a tubing, I have a subsurface safety valve SSSV, and I have another tubing, and finally a casing. Okay, so my tubing is about 2.99. Yeah, 2.99. So that's probably 2 and 7 and 8 inches. More than that, just a bit. Okay. Oh, sorry. That should be the diameter. Sorry. The depth is actually at 1,200 feet. The diameter is 2.992. Okay. So the SSV is installed at sorry, the diameter of the SSV is 2.8, and the tubing again extends to 97110. Now, dividing this tubing like this does not mean the tubing is actually divided. But it's just the way Prosper models this. You have to cut it somewhere and then insert this before you continue. Actually, the tubing extends from the surface up to this depth. Yeah, right. So that's the final depth of the tubing. So you're just inserting this to tell Prosper that there's something somewhere that might cause pressure drop and all that. So, and then if you observe, you see it's the same diameter. So, okay, now and after that we have casing. Casing at 9750, right? Yeah, 9750. That should be the total depth. And our casing is just 6 inches in diameter, the inner diameter. Okay, the next thing which you'll have is the geothermal gradient data. At the surface, the temperature is 60. But if you go a bit down, 600, this should be, I think, the water contact. Should be where you have water. The temperature has actually dropped to 50. I'm just suspecting anyway. Okay, and then we have at the reservoir depth, the temperature is of course the reservoir temperature. So I'm gonna do some matching anyway. So for now, I'll start with 8 for the overall heat transfer. I'm not very sure of this value, so but we'll correct that when we go to the matching section. Okay, so we go done. These ones are okay. They're okay. So done, and then we can now go here. So I have my PI, so I will just use the PI entry. I will not have to change that. The reservoir pressure is 4680. Reservoir temperature we know is 215. The water cut is at 22.2. Wow. Okay, so we'll just go to the input and enter our PI. PI is 11.6. So with that, we can now calculate this, and that's our absolute open flow potential, 46,000 barrels per day. Okay, so I'm going to. Normally that should be the end of this, but I am preparing this model for gap, so I need to generate lift curves. I have a tutorial on how to do that, so although I'll go through it again in this video, but maybe not in much detail as I did in that tutorial, but just pay attention. First of all, we need to check if we'll have some production. So our top node pressure is 378. Let's see if we'll produce at all. Okay, so I do calculate, and yeah, we're producing at oil rate of 7,202. Did we have something like that? Let's look at our history. If we had something like that, what all this cumulative production as cumulative production. I didn't look at the calculation from MBAL to see if we actually had this, but I think yeah, it should be correct. It should be correct. And then you can look at more detail of this here, and that's not what I want to do in this tutorial, so I'll just go in at once. Now, to generate lift curves, we have to look at the VLP and the IPR. So let me use VLP three variables here from here. So my top net pressure is 378, and the water curve is 22.2. So we go continue. Then I'll look at liquid rates. Where are you? Do we have liquid rate at all here? Okay, we'll look at third node pressure. Are you there? First node pressure. Okay. First node or top node? First node. Is there any other one? So I'll go with that. Okay, so we'll look at GR. Okay, well, can also look at water cut too. Okay. Okay. I think this should be okay. For the top node pressure, I'm gonna generate it from let's say 100 to about 5,000. Now, whatever values you use here should cover the entire range of pressures you're expecting. So let's say the lowest pressure I'm expecting is about 100 psi, and maybe the highest 5,000. And about 10 values should be okay for this. So linear spacing should be okay. So generate this, and that should be okay. The GOR, the same thing. I think the smallest value is about 280. We are actually at 35. What's that again? 325. So the last value can be as much as maybe 10,000 or more. 10 values too. So, but like I said, it should cover the entire range of values you're expecting. For me, the water cut, the lowest should be 0 and the highest should be about 90. Can go up to 99, but I don't think any company will want to produce at a water cut of 99. That's pure water you're producing. Okay, so also 10 values should be okay. So I generate, and then I can go continue, and then I calculate. Okay, what we're actually doing here is very important because you need these lift curves in the gap to proceed with whatever you're modeling. So if you don't do this here, of course you'll have to do it when you get to gap. Okay, so we're still waiting for the calculation to complete. So I'll pause this, and once you're done with the calculation, we can continue with the video. Okay, we're done with the calculation. So can we look at our results? Wow, 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 wow. I'm not ready for this. But let me, I think I actually missed something. Let me go back. Did I miss something? Yes, I did. I was supposed to use this for the rates. Yeah, I thought as much. Okay, so I'm supposed to, the rate method was supposed to use a selected liquid rate. So I want to generate the rate from about 100 to about 30,000, I think. Yeah, 30,000. That was why I was looking for liquid rate in the other screen. Sorry. Okay, so this one should be about, okay, I can take up to 20 of those values, so just generate them and then we can continue again, please. Sorry, I'll have to run this again. Okay, so I'll come back once I'm done with the calculation. Okay, we're done with the calculation, and I think this time around we're good to go. Everything is okay, so I'm just gonna go main, and okay, we're done with that. So we've generated VLP, lift curves, and IPR. So I'll love to do some, like I said, matching. So I'm gonna do VLP IPR matching. Like I said, I have a tutorial on this already in my YouTube, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'll go through it again, but not in great detail as I did, like I said in the other tutorial. So I have result on the first, the last day of production. Yeah, that's the first of October 2025. Okay, so we say test point. Just say call it that test. So lab test, the tuning at pressure. What's the tuning at pressure? We have that's our terminal pressure. 378. The temperature is 163 and the tuning at 163.4. Then I have water cut at 22.2. I have the liquid rate is at 947.2. Then I have the depth. I have a very depth of 9,200. We have a Dutch pressure at 3753.4. Then I have the reservoir pressure at 46. Yeah, 46. It's and the gas oil ratio at 325.03. Okay, 0.03. And the GOR, now I want to use this to match whatever we've done to adjust some values. Like I said, I told you I was not very sure of the U value, the, the overall heat transfer coefficient. So I'm going to estimate using this, and it's saying that the value is 9.2 from the tests. Remember, I used it, right? Okay. So now we can now change this. So 9.25. I'll say okay. Well, since that's what you have, just transfer and says transfer your value to determine gradient. Yes, transfer number, right? So that means I have a more reliable value now. So the next thing I'll have to do is to do this one to correlation comparison. So yeah, of course, use that. I'll select all of them first, and then I'll calculate and calculate. This might take some time, but don't worry, we'll soon be there. Okay, so we are done with that. So all we have to do is just to plot to see what we get. This is our test point, and I think a whole lot of these correlations are of the range. Let's see the one that actually suits our purpose. We have the yellow line. What do we have? Yellow line, petroleum expert. Okay, I think the green line is somewhat there. We have. Yes, I'm gonna take petroleum experts to. I'm gonna take which other one again? The green line is off a bit. I think the purple line is that purple? The petroleum expert 3. So I'm gonna kick some correlations out from what we've seen there. So I'll go again. I'll just go down. I'll kick some correlations. A whole lot of this out. So far there's a correlation. Okay. I think the petroleum expert 3 too was okay. So I'll try petroleum expert 4. I'll take these other ones out. Let me try this other one. So I'll calculate. Okay, we're done with the calculation. So let's plot again and see. Which of these actually suits? Is a test point. looks like it's still a bit off. Okay, but the blue line is petroleum expert 4. Can I try some other one again? Okay, let me try this petroleum expert 4 and I don't know. Let me just try some of this. Petroleum experts, French brown. I think those ones were very off. Okay, I'll try 2 of these again. I just want to check which correlation will be best as the essence of this, and then we can just stick to that particular correlation, which is the best. Okay, so I'm gonna plot again. So I'm gonna stick to petroleum experts 2. That should be okay. So petroleum expert 2 is what I'm gonna use for this. Is it 2 petroleum expert 3? Yeah, petroleum expert 2. Okay, so that's the one I'm gonna use. So if you calculate with petroleum expert 2, you should have something. Should have value. It's off. That's what I was saying. It's off, but there's none that is. I think it's the closest. It's the closest. Okay, so I'll go down, and then let's adjust our IPR. So just calculate this. Yes, of course, for highlighted tests. This highlighted test. So this is our new IPR VLP. What's our rates? About 9,000. Is that 9,042? Well, we're looking for 9,000 and 9,427. What am I having here? Okay, let's look at it from here. Liquid rates, IPR, VLP 373839. So I think this is it. This is somewhere between here and here. That's what we have. Okay, so we have that liquid rates. Okay, this is what we're expecting. But then we have something very close to that. Okay, solution rate is 9,002. So we're having 9.2, but we're expecting 9.4. That's pretty close, but not very close. Let's see if we have something different from the PI, which is calculated is 12 point this. And what did we use? We used 11.6, but it's saying it should be 12.2. So what do? Let's just update. Let's update. Why should I update? Am I comfortable with the spiritual expert too? I'm not very comfortable with that. Let me adjust this value. Let's do this correlation stuff again. I don't know. Let me compare this 3. Okay. These can also affect. Well, let's try again. So calculate this. Let's choose the best. I think petroleum expert 4 is the closest. Petroleum expert 4 is the closest. So I'm gonna take these other ones off. Okay. And then let's look at some of these. Petroleum expert 5. Okay. Then I'll also look at this too and this. Let's see, calculates. Sorry, we're spending a lot of time here, but we just want to get a good match and see if you can get something nice, then you're good to go. This one is gone. All guys gone. Don't need that. I3 is gone. They're very far away. So we are having the GRE here. The GRE is green line. It's still far away. Is petroleum expert 5, petroleum expert 4. That's still the closest. That's still the closest. The petroleum experts, they're very good. The GRE method 2 is also good. Okay, so still gonna stick to this. Checking these ones out. Okay, so we'll stick to that. Stick to that. Okay, so calculate this again. Solution node. Okay, yeah, solution rate now is beta. So we have 6424. Wow, that's good. Beta 6424. So our correlation actually affected that. What's the reason between experts? Okay, so I'm gonna adjust the PI. What do we have again? 12.2. Okay, oh, voila, updates, and let's continue. So adjust the pressure. What do we have as pressure? Pressure 4680. That's what we add. So do nothing, just continue. What do you have as IPR data? Uh, I need to calculate anything here again. I think we're good. 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 Okay. Okay. So we're good. We're good with this. So go done. And then we can match our VLP, and so match this. So we have these. These are very good matches. The standard deviation is also like very small. So we're expecting 3753. We also have 3753. Good, 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 good. So done. Let's match our VLP and IPR using Petroleum Expert for. So calculate this. Okay. So if I plot this, I have what's my rate? So the measured is calculated 96. Wow, the difference is large. The difference is large. The difference is large. What if I use Petroleum Expert 2? What do I get? Calculate. But yeah, I think this is better. Negative difference. Yeah. So I'm gonna use Petroleum Expert 2 for what I'm gonna do. Petroleum Expert 2 is the best. Okay, I don't need to come here again now. Do I calculate? I don't. Okay. So we're done with this. I think we are done. We're done. We're done with all that. I want to look at that IPR again. Was it IPR? No, not IPR. Okay, so that's that. So we're done with that. So we've generated everything that ought to be generated, and the next thing I'll have to do is I'll click on gap to return to our screen. Yeah, save, and let's go. So I have a folder called gap. So I'll call this I'll call that underscore a, and I'll save. Okay, so finally we can now import, and it's valid. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna we've already spent a whole lot of time here. So the well is not still okay, but at least we've supplied the data. So for well B, I'll just import. So I'm gonna import these things. I have a file already in my gap folder for well P. Just import that. Now, once you're done with this, it's also good to validate this model. So I'm going to use model validation to validate that for well A. The reservoir pressure for well A is yeah, it was 4680. That's what we just finished modeling. For well B, oh, I didn't show you the data for well B. Let's just look at the data for well B briefly. This is well B. Oh, sorry. Let's look at well B briefly so that we can continue. So we have oil. I think these are default values, right? Okay, so we'll look at the downhole equipment. If you plot this, it's still a slightly deviated well. Okay, so do cancel. There's no surface equipment, so we go cancel. And we'll look at this tubing at 8,000 and 10,100, casing at 10,210. The tubing is larger than for well A, but the casing is the same width. So I go cancel, and I think, yeah, it's the same data for the temperature. Oh, yeah, we are having 8.66. I think they also did some matching. Yeah, they did. So you can actually draw the downhole equipment, right? So that's I go main directly at once, and the data we have here. So that's the solution node. The solution GOR, this is the gravity, so it's different from what we had there. Then if you look at the match, the data used for matching. So the bubble point pressure is also different. Yeah, it's basically almost the same thing we had for the reservoir B, right? Reservoir B, so this is the PI, the productivity index in this case is 7.03. And you can plot this, so 24. Okay, so we go done that. Now check something. Yeah, here the water cut is there, very important. So we'll have to look at that. Well, for well A, I had a water cut of 22%. So I just thought of bringing that to your notice. Okay, so look at the data for this 3594 top node pressure. So if you continue and you continue, reservoir pressure is 4660. Good. Water cut is that. So if you calculate this is what they are having about 13,977 STB per day. There's no water, so liquid rate is equal to oil rate. Okay, so I'm going main. I'll look at the data used for matching. So the same thing from 100 to 30,000. Top node pressure, what was that again? I think I forgot to specify. Let me come here and look at it again. What was that? 359. So I'll just copy that 359. So let me set that here 359, and then we have this as 0. We're still using the same range 100 to 5,000, 280 to 10,000, and 0 to 90. So I'll not calculate, I'll just show you the stuff. So the generated lift curves, and let's look at their VLP IPR matching. So okay, they have data. What is okay? So they have data for the matching, and this is 35 and all that. So I'm sure they've done all of this, right? Let me see their correlation. Which correlation? They're using Petroleum Expert 2. So Petroleum Expert 2, good, 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 good. It's something else. Okay, so we go main. So that's just the data for that. Okay, so let's look at the manifold pressure. Manifold pressure is 378, and the one we just looked at now was 359, right? For B. The liquid rate was at 9427. Yes, of course. I remember this value. And this one 13, yeah, 97. I think it was 977. I'm saying 970. So water cut there was 22.2. Sorry, 0.2. While the other one was 0. The GR was 3 to 5. I remember this. And for the other one is 7.6. 8. Okay, so once you're done with this one, you can just calculate and then look at the differences. So if you look at that, you see the difference is about very negative value here. That's rate negative, water rate. Is actually very large differences. Right, it's estimating 0. It's not estimating anything. Why? Oh, wow. Sorry. I uh, I actually I missed a step. I was supposed to generate the PLP and IPR crops first before we come here. So I'll just do okay. This is what I ought to have done. Go to generate IPR. So select everything and then I'll generate. So I'm generating the IPR curves. That is from, of course, it's from the Prosper file. So if you come here and you go to results, and look at what again? Where do you find that? Summary. Thanks. No. Okay. IPR layer. I'll come back to this anyway. But this should be changed to from this. Okay, so the grid view. The IPR should be okay. Not generated for VLP. Okay. So anyway, that's okay. So let's generate for VLP. Then we'll come back and look at that. So I'll select all. We can look at the data ranges, and of course it brought this. That is, it's importing it directly from our Ember file. So these are the ranges of values we entered. You remember? So for well P, same thing. Okay. So now since we have both of them, good. We can just say okay and select both of them and then click on generate. This will take some time to complete, so I'll pause the video and come back once we're done with generating it. Okay, so we're done with generating, so we can now go okay. Okay, and notice this one is already gone because I think we tried doing this. Okay, so let's look at this for well P so that we also finish that. We'll go to IPR layer, and it's saying that this is an error, so we'll just change that to dunk model. The reason is we want the water cut and the GOR that will be calculated to reflect what's actually happening in our reservoir, not basically what is happening at the well, since the well is getting from the reservoir. So our fractional flow model, which will reflect our water cut and other properties, should reflect what is showing or what is happening at the tank, our reservoir. So once you're done with that, you notice our IPR is okay, so we're good to go. You can actually look at the values. So these are the values, right? That was generated for us. So we're good to go. Okay. So I was trying to validate the model before we couldn't. So let's calculate this again and see if we have some. Oh yeah, of course, this is much better. Okay, so that's that. So we're done with this, and okay, we can now go. Okay, so we're done with the wells, the reservoir, and the wells. Now we have to look at the pipe section, and then from there we can continue. We're almost done with the model. Okay, so let's look at the pipe. The pipe A, if you over, there's nothing there. We've not had production yet, so we've not solved the model, but let's apply pipe data. Now the overall transfer rate is that okay, the capacities are okay. Let's look at okay, the temperature too is okay, 50 degrees is okay. So let's describe these. We have a line pipe basically something like this. So we have input and outflow, inflow and outflow. So that's a node. So, but the data I am getting is that we have about 2 line pipes. From this data, I don't know. Okay, so it says the first one is about, okay, the values actually came not in feet, it came in kilometers. So I'm gonna change this to kilometer, and this one actually came in meters. So you can actually change this. It's flexible, and you can change back once you've supplied the data. So the first one is 0.3 kilometers, and the other one is 0.2. If you want to get the feet equivalent, after you've entered this, you can change this to feet and to calculate for you. You don't have to calculate this all the time. And let's still allow it to be kilometers, right? Okay, so now the so-called line pipe. Now this one is starting at 0, and then we have about 20 meters, and then it ends at 0. So the inside diameter is 4 inches for both of them. We can plot, yes, we can plot and see. Look at how it looks like. That's how it looks like from upstream, where it's coming from, to the downstream. Okay, so that's the information, that's the data I have, and that's how it looks like. So if after doing that, you see our pipe has changed from colorless to this. So normally, if the data you have is the same for both, you can actually right click. Sorry, is that right? No, left click. Yeah, you can left click and drag. Right? Did I do something? Left click and okay. I think it's control left click and drag. Yeah, to copy the data. But for me, it's not the same, so I'll still have to alter this. Now, what for the other one, what I have is 0.2 and 0.1. So I'm going to change this to 0.1. And then this one is also the same 0.2044. So as I think the only thing was just the length. Okay, so I'm done with that. I should do the same thing for this, but the data is also very different. So I'm going to use line pipe to, I think about 3 of them. Yeah, about 3 of them. 3 line pipes, and they're actually 1, 5, and 5. Now this one actually starts at 20, goes to 10, and then to 20, and then to the surface. Okay, so downstream is actually at the surface, 0 TVD, theoretical depth, and their diameter is about 12 inches, all of them 12 inches in diameter. So we can also plot that to look at out. So that's that. Okay, so we're done with that. We're done with this. Oh, I think there is something missing. Okay, it's there. I was looking at this, I didn't see. Okay, so our model, we are very good to go. We are good to go. Now with this, I think we're good to go. The next thing is to solve this model so as to check to see what we can be producing or what we'll be producing. So you go to solve network, go to run solver, and we're told our separator pressure is at 250 psig. You go to next, and then we are not optimizing anything, so no optimization. I like to reset this first before I continue. Okay, so I go to okay, and then I can now calculate, and it's done calculating. There are no scripts, there are no messages, so just the log. So if I go main down and I over any of these, I see okay. So it says liquid rates. Look at the pop-up menu there. Is it a pop-up menu or a context menu? I don't know, but it's a menu. So we're saying that the liquid rate is about 23,022. Wow, it's great. That's great. And then the oil rate is about 20,090.40. So what's coming here? So you can also look at that. Did I see DP? Okay, the DP is 0, but there's a pressure drop, okay, across the pipe. Yeah, it's expected. It's expected, of course. It's expected. So let me see if there's any pressure drop here. The choke, okay, the choke here is 0, so it's not choked. It's fully open. It means these wells are fully open. When they are fully open, we are expecting about 23,000 barrels a day. But unfortunately, there's bad news. The information says that this separator can only handle about 18,000. So how do you constrain your separator to handle 18,000? Now, if this handles 18,000 and this produces about 23,000, what you have to do is to choke back these wells. Of course, each well has a choke, right? Immediately after the wing valve, there should be a choke somewhere there downstream the well. So to control now, in order to be able to constrain this, we have to first of all go to the separator, and then we have to go to the constraint tab and then specify the limit. We say we can only handle 18,000 barrels per day. So once we're done with that, look at our separator now has this arrow here, meaning that it's constrained. Now, in order to honor this constraint, we have to make our wells. Go to well and then go to control, the control tab. You see the DP control was set to none. We can set it to calculated, yeah, to make it calculated. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do that, an alternative way is to right click here and then you make it controllable. Wow. Right. Now, since once you're done with that, we can now go to notice that the choke. You look at that, the choke is actually 0.0 psi, right? So now I'm going to go to solve network again and solve this network, and let's see what will happen. So now this time around, I want to optimize with the constraint because there's now a constraint on the system, and perhaps I can even calculate the potential, but there's no need because we've already seen the potential of the well. The potential of the well. Okay. So now I go to calculate and okay, so we'll see the log messages. We have limiting here. We say maximum liquid rate. So this is the separator is actually limiting our production. So right. Okay, so we can go to main and then look at this again. So we see now this is producing a liquid rate of 18,000. But then, so let's look at what is happening here. You'll notice if you look at it very well that the oil liquid rate for this well did not change. The choke is still at 0.0 psi. That means the optimizer did not choke this well. It left it fully open. Now let's look at well A. If you had followed the tutorial very well, you'll notice that the liquid rate for this well has changed. It was higher than the 4,297 you're seeing there. And then also if you look at the choke, you discover there is a pressure there of 924.04 psi. That means this well has been choked by the optimizer, meaning in order to produce 18,000 barrels of liquid a day, you need to choke by well A. And the question will be, why would you choke well A and not well B? If you look at the data we used very well, you discover that the water cut for well B was actually 0, while that for well A was about 22.2%. Now, the optimizer, of course, it's optimizing, so it's looking for the best scenario at which you can produce. Best scenario means that you should reduce water and produce more of oil. Now, if you leave this fully open and you choke this one back, that means you'll be producing water and no one wants to produce water. So you choke back the well that produces water and leave the well that doesn't produce water fully open. So that is that. And all this was actually very automated. Okay, that's that. That's a very good scenario. But then that was just solving the network. We can actually calculate. We can now calculate. We can say, what are we expecting in what are we expecting in about let's say in the first 10 years, 20 years, and all that. So to do that, we can go to that's where the prediction tab comes in. Go to run prediction, yeah, run prediction. So start date is 2023 August. Was that? Yeah, that was the last day, August 2023. So let's look at what will happen for the next 10 years. 10 years should be 33. So I'll use 2 months, 2 month steps. So I'll go next, next, and next, and then I'll do optimize with all constraints, and I can even calculate potential, like I said. So we'll now do the calculation, and we are good. We are almost there, almost there, almost there. Okay, so we are done with the calculation. So we can now go to main, and then let's look at our this thing. Okay, so we can look at this, look at the well, and go to tanks. Sorry, is it tanks? Go to results. Sorry, yeah, the result tab. This has been populated, and we can ask questions like, what is the cumulative production after 10 years of production? So I'll go to my well and look at cumulative production. Where is it? Look at this. Just look for cumulative oil. Okay, so this is a region for cumulative oil. Cumulative oil was the last value there. So we have 15 million barrels in 10 years. Cumulative water, we have about 4 million barrels of water and all that. So that's for well A. I can do the same for well B, right? So the cumulative oil production is 45, and water is 0.1 million barrels. Okay, so what about, let's look at that separator. How many barrels? Cumulative oil production is 60 million. Whoops, that's good. So total, that's commingled from both well A and well B. We're having about 60 million barrels in 10 years. Okay, so that is actually that's great. That's great. Okay. So that is, I think that should be enough. Okay, let me bring in one thing again. One other thing which is also very very possible is let's say after some time, what is common in the oil industry is when you're starting production, you start with an EPF. It's called early production facility, and the EPF is supposed to be in production for a limited time, after which a CPF will be built. CPF is Central Processing Facility. Now, the CPF has a larger capacity, and of course, it's more of a permanent structure, or a more lasting structure than the EPF. So what happens is the equipment will be upgraded, including the separator. So this separator maybe was for an EPF and could only handle 18,000. Now, when a CPF is built, the capacity of the separator would definitely increase. And let's say it is now able to handle about, let's say, 50,000, 40,000, 30,000. Now, you can also model that situation here in GAP, a situation where the capacity of the separator or any of the equipment will increase, and then in such situation, what will be the expected increase in production and all that. So let's look at that situation. So I'm going to go to my separator, and then I'm looking at what is there? Is it inputs? Okay, schedule. Yeah, under input schedule. So I'm saying that at a certain point in time, let's say we are actually at 2023, right? So let's look at 20 1st of January 2025. Not 20. Let's take some like 2027. 2027. Let's say at that time the constraint has changed. What type of constraint has changed? The liquid rate has now changed to, let's say, about 40,000. So this is when the facility was upgraded from an EPF to CPF. Anyway, you shouldn't guess this value. It should be something maybe from the field, so you know when it was upgraded and all that, so you can mimic that. So once you're done with this, you can now go back and solve your this thing again. So you run production again. Okay, so maybe you can change the time step up, but I think 2 months time step is it? It's too slow for me. I'm gonna take it for. Uh, Let's take it at every 3 months. It's your this thing. You're at liberty to obtain your results at any interval. You can obtain it every day. You can obtain it every month and maybe yearly and all that. You're very free. So I'm gonna go next, and then calculate and optimize, of course, with all constraints. So we'll wait for it to complete. So I'll pause the video and come back once you're done with the calculation. Okay, so we are done. We can now go main, and it's either you go to this and then look at results and these and maybe plots. Okay, so did you notice something? So it started here at about 18,000, came down, and at a certain date, let's look at the dates. Look at the X value says it's the 31st of December 2026. So it increased and now producing at what? Producing at, yeah, 20. Did I say 20,000? X, what's the Y value? Y value is about 20,300. Yeah, so this thing increased. The production of the separator actually increased. Okay, so and then it started going down again. Okay, if you don't want to access the screen from here, yeah, you can also access it from here. You go to that and you go to tank result, view predictions as result system totals. You can also plot tank prediction result and all that. And another thing which I forgot, another one of the things that's common. Okay, so you can plot these together to see what's actually happening. You notice tank B is still very fully open, very fully open. This one was choked back, but after some time the choking was lifted because of the increase in facility. So it was opened up. It's now running fully. So both of them from this day. Okay, that's that for this tutorial. If you have questions, do well to ask your questions, and I'll advise you to try to replicate this model if you can. It's very good. If you can replicate the model, then kudos to you. That is where you actually know if you actually followed very well. If you have questions, ask. I'll be in the comment section to answer your questions. Now for the tutorial where I did the generation of lift curves, the link will be in the comments section, sorry, in the description. So you can go there and look at the tutorial. Wish you success, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. If it's useful for you, you can share so that others will also get the information. It might help a life.